How do we make money while traveling? What made me actually push myself to do RV life? Where do we camp? What made you want to do RV life? What are our biggest expenses? How do we get packages on the road? How do we travel with cats? Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla. If you're new here, you should definitely subscribe. I get a whole bunch of questions asking so many things about the RV and living in one. So here's the first part of my RV Q&A. I hope you enjoy. Let's get right into it. First question is, what made you want to do RV life? This is gonna sound weird, but I always wanted to live in a really tiny place. I was obsessed with the idea of living in a tiny house or a New York City apartment. I would watch those videos all the time on YouTube. And then I discovered that you could live in a van. I'm like, oh my god, van life sounds so cool. And when my college situation did not work out, I was home, it was COVID, not much to do. So I convinced Zach to do RV life. But at the time, it was still van life in our minds. So we bought a mini box truck, but it ended up being too expensive and too much for us to do. So we ended up looking at a van life van already converted and an RV. The RV ended up being cheaper and it had so much more room. The van we could barely walk through. So the RV just made a lot more sense, especially for traveling with cats. The next question is, what made me actually push myself to do RV life? It was a combination of a couple things. One, it was COVID times. We graduated high school in 2020. I graduated college, 2 colleges, in 2022. COVID was definitely dying down. It definitely wasn't very prevalent anymore. But during the whole COVID time, we got the idea in our head. We started working on the box truck and the RV. By the time 2022 came around, we were settled. Things were pretty much back to normal. It felt safe to go like out and explore. We were in such a repetitive routine and I hate that. I hate doing the same exact thing every day. Obviously, RV life sounded amazing and fun. If it would have just been me, I probably would have just kept pushing it off, but Zachary and I kept each other in check, I guess. Like, we want to do this, we're doing this. On this day, we set a date. We told everyone we know what day we're leaving. No one was gonna push us off schedule. And one of the things that kept us in our hometown for so long before actually committing to the trip was our finances, because I was freaking stressed. After purchasing an RV, I was like, okay, do we actually have enough money to live and actually do this? So we made a budget, a very strict budget. We calculated if we do not make a single cent, we're gonna last this long. And it was plenty of time. And so I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna make money, so we're gonna be fine. That was a big thing for me. My biggest stressor was basically finances, but that wasn't an issue. We both had big savings, we both had jobs. It wasn't stressful once we broke it down and actually calculated everything out. Probably the most asked question we've ever gotten is, how do we make money while traveling and living on the road? We have so many different income streams. One, Zach works for his dad. I also work for my dad. And then Zach owns a social media marketing company called Quiver Media. I was helping him with that for a couple years. Recently, some fun things have happened. I have started making money on social media. That's a big thing for me now. And before this, I was flipping clothes, like reselling clothes on Mercari. And that made me a decent amount. Zach also works on Upwork, so he has random clients on there too. We basically just pick up every odd job we can. I'm still reselling clothes, reselling books, just random things to make us some money. We went home last summer. We're probably gonna go home this summer. Not sure how long yet. We're also gonna work in town there, and that restocks our money a lot. It's very nice when we go home. Basically all expenses are cut out for the most part. We don't really have to pay for gas, because where are we going? Just to and from work. We're not driving across states anymore in a month. And groceries, our parents always want us over, so they just feed us. During the summers, our expenses are cut. Our money that we're making increases exponentially. That is a big factor. Going home for even like 2 or 3 months makes the biggest difference, but we do make enough money on the road to be able to sustain it. But yeah, we do quite a few different things. Next question is, how do we get packages on the road? And this we are still figuring out. We are not good at this. If you're ordering on Amazon, there's Amazon lockers all over the country, which would be lovely, but they only go up to certain sizes. So if you have a big item, all the ones that we have tried does not fit the packages we need. We have had to go to UPS, figure that out with them. We also go to a lot of like local business shipping centers, and there you can ship packages, obviously, but also they hold packages. It's usually $5 a package, probably like 5 to 10 across the country. But we have not figured out how to get post office mail. The shipping centers, most of them are allowed to take USPS. They can only do UPS or FedEx. All of our mail goes to our parents' houses, and we don't have a lot of very important mail, but if we happen to have one, they just send us a picture of it. We do what we need to do with it. If you have any suggestions for how to get mail easily, let me know. Next question is, where do we camp? 95% of where we camp is free boondocking spot. It is not pleasant to spend $50 a night on a camp, so we don't. Very rarely do we. Right now we're at a little camp. It was $30 a night for full hookups, which is pretty reasonable, especially for the views that are here. But we use iOverlander. Actually, let me pull up my app. So when we were on the East Coast, we used a lot of Harvest Host just because there weren't that many iOverlander spots and we were still new to it. So we used a lot of Harvest Host, which is like $150 a year, and you get to park at people's houses, at businesses. Some make you pay, some don't. Some have hookups, some don't. It all just depends. But the main thing we use now is iOverlander. This is where we find dump stations, potable water, camp spots, just a whole bunch of stuff. Once we find a spot on the iOverlander, we read basically every single review, depending on how many there are. We look at every single picture, then we go on Google Maps, figure out if it's like a dirt road that we're gonna have to drive on, how bad is it, everything like that. We do our research before we get to a place. There's so many places where you have to have high clearance, and in a big RV like this, it's not practical. And then sometimes we use campdominium, but there's also things like Hip Camp. Airbnb has camping things, and then just state parks are pretty much always available for camping. We also stay at a lot of truck stops when we can't find anything else, just because we like to do as many free things as possible. And truck stops, they have the snacks, they have the gas, they have the propane, they usually have a dump station. It's just a good place to go. But we have not had a single night where we just couldn't find anywhere to park. There's always been some place to boondock, some pull off on the side of the highway that you can camp at, or a truck stop somewhere in a town. There's also Walmart parking lots. Home Depot sometimes lets you park. Cabela's. There are so many different places you can park at that it's pretty much impossible to never find a spot. So sorry for this bird that's just screaming. Following the last question, this kind of goes along with it. What are our biggest expenses? Since we barely pay anything to park places, we relocate that money. We definitely do. We have 3 main consistent big expenses, and those are the RV payment, obviously. We have to pay for the RV every month. The second is gas. Usually we spend like $500 on gas a month. Our third biggest expense is groceries. Our other honorable mentions, I guess, is like dump fees. It's $10 to dump, so we spend like $40 a month once per week. But then the cats, they are like $150. And then our other occasional expense that beats everything out is repairs. The oil change for $50 every like 6,000 miles, so it's not bad at all. Highly recommend going to Walmart for that. It's so cheap, and we've gotten ripped off so many times at random businesses. Now we just go to Walmart. We figured out how to do our own oil change on the generator. We've had to get sealant for the roof, and then the generator repairs have cost us so much. It broke down in Florida in 90-degree weather. We couldn't use our AC or anything. Had issues in Utah. Generators are not cheap, but we literally couldn't do this without it, so it is worth it. Okay, last but not least of this Q&A, how do we travel with cats? It's not that hard, actually. We now have 3 cats. This is Maru. He's our little baby kitten. We got him in December. He loves to be outside. He's purring up a storm. He loves it. We've gotten some comments where people think the cats are unwell living in the RV. We go so many different places that they look out the window and they're amazed. They're occupied for hours just looking outside at all the new things. Pretty much every day we're in a new location. They love it so much. We bring them outside, we bring them on little walks, we let them walk around wherever we're parked. They are so spoiled. They have the world at their disposal. And if you're gonna comment something bad, just keep in mind that if you have a cat, it's probably sitting at home by itself all day while you're gone at work, gone grocery shopping, gone out to dinner, whatever. You're probably not home very much with your cats. We are with our cats 24/7. They're spoiled. They have the best life they possibly could. Let's just keep the comments to yourself. Thank you. If they ever have some sort of sickness, we catch it instantly. Like if one of them is acting odd, we immediately figure out what is happening. Tamari's gotten sick once, caught it that day. Brought her to the vet as soon as it's open. And we do have litter boxes in the RV, which is another question I get a lot. We've covered this on our Instagram before. It was our most viral video. I'll have it pinned on our van life account if you want to go see it. But we now have 2 litter boxes since we got Maru. We use wood pellets for it from Tractor Supply. It's horse bedding, but you can use it for litter. It just disintegrates when they pee on it. It doesn't track. Maru tracks it because he makes a mess with every single thing. But before, when it was just the girls, there would be like a speck a week. There was no tracking ever. Whereas when we started and we had regular litter, that was all over the place. And it smelled up so bad, but wood pellets don't smell. They smell like wood when you pour it in and then you don't smell it. With the regular litter, we smelled that all day. We smelled the chemicals. This is all natural stuff. It's also only $7 to $8 at Tractor Supply and it lasts us a month. It's amazing. But yeah, the cats are chilling. They also have insurance, health insurance. We spoil them. They're treated so well. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people like get so sensitive about this for some reason. They're seeing more of the country than most of America ever will. They're doing well. I'm gonna end this video here. If you liked it, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I post a new video. If you have any more questions I didn't cover, let me know in the comments, let me know on my Instagram, wherever you feel like sending it. I will probably make a part 2 to this eventually. That's it for this video. I will see you next time. Peace.